Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And also welcome to the month of September. School has started, or it's starting recently. I'm not quite sure exactly when school starts, but in any case, you might be studying really hard during the day and you're doing your homework at night, and then you want to treat yourself to a snack in the night market, and you might go for something called taiyaki. Okay, that's what we're going to be talking about today. It's kind of a Japanese snack.
Yeah, I have to be honest, I've never had it. And I feel embarrassed to admit that. But because it's shaped like a fish, I would probably assume it tastes like a fish. And I'm not a big fish eater. But we're going to find out it's not really fish. Let's dive in. We're going to listen to our article read once, and then we'll be back.
Bite into taiyaki and sample the flavor of Japanese traditions. What's a fish that doesn't swim but tastes delicious? It's taiyaki, a traditional Japanese snack that's also popular in Taiwan. It's shaped like a fish and has a crunchy shell with a soft, sweet filling. In addition to its various fillings, such as red bean paste or custard, taiyaki is bursting with history and culture. Taiyaki means baked sea bream, and it has been a cherished treat in Japan for over a century. Inspired by Edo period imagawayaki, a round red bean-filled pancake, taiyaki first emerged as a street snack in 1909. To increase sales, its inventor shaped it like a sea bream, a fish long associated with good fortune. By transforming this lucky but costly fish into an everyday snack that contained no fish, Japanese vendors brought a taste of celebration to the masses. Originally filled with red bean paste, taiyaki now comes in flavors like chocolate, matcha, and even cheese or sausage. A modern twist is taiyaki ice cream cones. This blend of tradition and creativity has helped taiyaki gain global popularity. Today, taiyaki is more than a snack. It represents culture and even serves as a personality test. Some believe your eating style reflects your character. Biting the head first suggests optimism, while starting from the tail means you're more cautious. Next time you enjoy taiyaki, observe how you eat it. It might add fun to your snack time. Okay, everybody, let's get to it. Let's talk about the contents of today's lesson. We're going to bite into taiyaki. Of course, if you bite into something, you start eating something and you enjoy it. And also, when you try something new, you are sampling something. Let me sample that. Let me try a sample. That's both a verb and a noun. But here we're sampling the flavor of Japanese traditions. And I know lots of people here in Taiwan just love Japan. Lots of people go there and you enjoy the food there. So yeah, this is something that you can enjoy that has the flavor of Japan.
And we're going to talk about this particular snack. If you look it up, it just says it's a Japanese fish-shaped cake. It doesn't say fish-filled cake or a fish-tasting cake. But it's usually filled with either sweet filling or savory filling, which means it's more of a salty taste. And you can get them usually at the night market. It could be described as being a fish-shaped pastry. We might call it that. But it is a Japanese snack that's made its way over here to Taiwan, too.
Supposedly, I can't say I've ever seen it before. What you see mostly in night markets here are the wheel cakes, cholun bing, which are very similar, but I haven't seen these ones shaped like fish, but they're pretty much the same thing. They have similar fillings. So yes, indeed, it's taiyaki, a traditional Japanese snack, which is also popular here in Taiwan. Now,
I bet a lot of our listeners, though, Tom, have taken vacations to Japan.
I'm sure they know exactly what we're talking about here. And let's describe it. It's shaped like a fish and has a crunchy shell with a soft, sweet filling. Now, I'm not quite sure I agree with this. I'm not sure if it's crunchy. I would say maybe it's crispy if it's cooked properly, but crunchy is more like like that if you're eating cereal or something like that. But crispy is not as loud when you chew on it. That's my feeling anyway. But here we're describing it as crunchy. It has a crunchy shell. The outside of it is crunchy, and then the inside is soft, and it has a sweet filling in there, the stuff that's inside it.
I think that's my favorite texture is crunchy or crispy. I agree with Tom. Crunchy is a little harder than crispy. But if you say crunchy, everybody will understand. what you're talking about. Brittle is another word that's similar, but it makes a really sharp, kind of loud sound as you eat. And Tom did a nice facsimile, or he made that sound himself. So my favorite food is Mexican food, and I especially love the tacos with the hard shells. The shell is the outside covering of something, and I love it when I can bite down on it and I hear that sound. I love crispy, crunchy food. I don't know. It just tastes better to me when it's crunchy. That's why I often will like the deep-fried dishes because they're often crispy or crunchy. Although they're probably not as healthy for you, they sure taste good.
Right. Of course, they make them crunchy or crispy by using some oil, and you never know exactly what kind of oil they're using. In addition to its various fillings, such as red bean paste or custard, taiyaki is bursting with history and culture. Okay, so in addition, but also we've got this pattern here. So besides its various fillings, it still is bursting with history and culture. So it's both tasty and it has an interesting story involving its history. Now, various just means many, a lot, a variety of something. So we've got different kinds of fillings. The wheel cakes here in Taiwan usually have just two fillings, the red bean paste and cream, I guess. I'm not sure cream is the same as custard. When I had this in Japan and had the custard ones, I thought it tasted exactly like cream here in Taiwan. So custard and cream are kind of similar in texture and flavor. And I should mention that red beans are actually a different kind of bean if you're in the United States. But here, red bean is referring to hongdo, which is often referred to as adzuki beans.
I would say that a cream is a little more solid, but if you've ever had an egg tart in Taiwan, they're very popular here, especially at KFC. That's filled with something we would call a custard. So it's a little thicker, and it can hold its shape. If you've had something that's a little more liquid, it's probably a pudding. It's just a little bit more liquidy, you could say. But yeah, various could also be substituted by the word assorted flavors, assorted fillings. You'll often see that word on bags of food that you buy that has English printed on it, assorted flavors. So it's got different flavors inside. If you buy chocolate candy, sometimes it will have different flavors of filling, and it could be assorted flavors. So yeah, you've got a big choice there because sometimes they will fill those taiyaki with different fillings, and that's what we call what's inside the filling.
Exactly. You could use that to describe dumplings as well, the kinds of fillings in dumplings, whether they're boiled dumplings or steamed or whatever. The stuff inside is the filling, or xian, as you call it in Chinese. Now, taiyaki means baked sea bream, and it has been a cherished treat in Japan for over a century. So sea bream is our English translation for diao or diaoyu, and baked, of course, here is yaki. So you know the word yaki, shao, so diaoyu shao, which is taiyaki in Japanese and Chinese. And that's what it means, baked sea bream. But there's no fish in it at all. But still, the Japanese people know that, and it has been cherished in Japan for more than 100 years.
Yeah, if it's cherished, it's loved by a lot of people, and it's been loved for quite a long time in Japan. We're going to find out it was first seen as a snack in 1909. So that's a long time ago. It's kind of cool that they were inventing snacks way back then. It was inspired by the Edo period. It was inspired by something called an imagawa yaki, which is a round, red, bean-filled pancake. So a pancake is more flat, and pancakes aren't crispy. They're soft. Think of the pancakes that you can buy for breakfast food in Taiwan. Those are pancakes. Songbing. Isn't it a songbing?
Yep.
And taiyaki first emerged, as I said, as a street snack in 1909. If you see those words street snack together, it means it's sold outside by vendors. It's not something that you buy in the supermarket per se, or maybe you can't buy it in the supermarket. It's not available, but it's certainly sold outside by vendors who set up their stands and sell different types of food that they make there in front of you usually.
I remember having those red bean-filled pancakes in the Sherland Night Market many years ago. I'm not sure if the same vendor is still there selling them, but I saw them and I thought, oh, there are some pancakes there. But of course, they had this red bean filling inside of them. American-style pancakes don't have that. They're just flat, and you can get them at breakfast places all over the place. And yes, indeed, it came out in 1909 as a street snack. And to increase sales, to make it sell better, its inventor shaped it like a sea bream, a fish long associated with good fortune. Now, I don't know exactly why the cholunbing are shaped like that here in Taiwan. To me, they are shaped like a hockey puck. You know, that's something we play hockey with, although I don't call them puck cakes because no one's going to know what the heck I'm talking about. So I don't really know why they're shaped like that here in Taiwan. It must be some kind of lucky shape or something. And that's the case in Japan. They made it into this shape because it's associated with good fortune. It's related to good fortune. Fortune just means luck, money, things like that, good things that happen to you.
I'm not surprised that they put it into kind of a fun shape because the saying is that we eat with our eyes first. So if something looks really tempting or enticing, we tend to want to eat that first. So yeah, if you eat with your eyes first and you love fish, this would be fun to see in your night market. We would call it a novelty shape, something that's kind of new and that catches your attention. So yeah, it was first shaped by an inventor long ago to increase sales. And it's a fish, the sea bream, that's long been associated with good fortune. Fortune is your luck. You can have bad fortune or you can have good fortune. And of course, we hope everyone has good fortune. That's a very nice thing to have in life.
Okay, let's move on now to the next sentence here. It says, by transforming this lucky but costly fish into an everyday snack that contained no fish, Japanese vendors brought a taste of celebration to the masses. So this is what they did. They transformed this lucky fish. It's also a costly fish. I guess it's kind of expensive to catch and to sell in Japan. I guess you can only have it on certain occasions when you have the money to spend on it. So yes, it's costly, but it's lucky as well. So they transformed it into an everyday snack. There's no fish there, of course. It does not contain any fish. And by doing that, Japanese vendors brought a taste of celebration to the masses, to everybody in society. They could eat these fish for a relatively cheap price, and they could feel that their lives would be better as a result of eating that. Of course, you can't eat too much of them because you'll probably get really fat.
Speaking of this particular kind of fish, sea bream. Taiwan has sea bream. We get them from the ocean, and the most common type is the red sea bream. They call it like that because if you look at the outside of the fish, it's got this reddish bronze color, which is kind of pretty. Again, I don't like fish, and taiyaki doesn't really have a fish taste or usually a fish filling. We're going to talk more about that, but that's where its name is derived or its name comes from is that particular fish, the sea bream. Now, if you talk about sea bream in the United States or even in the UK, they get their sea bream from fresh water, which means not in the ocean, in rivers or lakes. So it's a different kind of fish. So yeah, it's interesting how we use these particular words. So by transforming or changing this, transform means to change completely. This lucky but expensive fish turns into an everyday snack that everyone can afford. Yay! Contains no fish, as we mentioned, but the Japanese vendors were bringing a taste of celebration to the masses. Masses means the public. Everybody, not just the elite and not just the poor or the middle class. Everybody is part of the masses, but it usually refers to people who can't afford to buy expensive stuff. And if you're bringing a taste of celebration, it's just a way to say it tastes like you're celebrating or celebrating something fun just because it's fun to eat. We're going to talk more about this, guys, but right now we're going to take a break and listen to our Chinese teacher.
听众朋友大家好，我是安娜。我们今天要跟大家来玩一个脑筋急转弯。什么样的鱼不会游泳，但是尝起来却很美味呢？ 其实是鲷鱼烧啦。好啦，不闹了。其实我们今天就是要介绍一下鲷鱼烧，它的历史跟文化，还有它很多的口味。不过我们这文章呢是设计成克漏字啊，也就是综合测验，所以我们边看文章来边做题目哦。好，这个鲷鱼烧啊，在日文叫做 taiyaki， 就出现在我们第一段第2句的这个地方。基本上呢，它就是一种在台湾也很受欢迎的一种传统的日本小吃哦。当然鲷鱼烧的话，形状就是像一条鱼嘛，而且外皮就酥脆啊，里面的 fillings 这个内馅啊也很香甜。不过我们现在文意已经来到第一段的第3句这个地方，这个最后一句的这个 filling 啊，内馅，这个内馅就连接到后面这边的第一题咯。第一题啊，我们来看一下第一段第4句这个句子。他说啊，各种不同的内馅，例如红豆馅啊、卡士达馅啊、鲷鱼烧，还蕴含着丰富的历史文化。所以其实在第一格当中，我们要承先启后，就是除了这些内馅之外，还要谈的是它丰富的历史跟文化。所以第一格答案选 D 是比较恰当的。那在这个句子当中呢，我们还是要特别注意一下，逗点之后啊，其实有关键字，就是所谓的 history and culture。那我们曾经说过，段落要承先启后，它的最后一句通常都会预告接下来要谈什么。所以来到第2段咯，第2段我们就看看它的历史文化，历史如何起源呢？原来这个 taiyaki 啊，它在日文的意思就是烤鲷鱼。因为在这个100多年以来呢，它一直是日本一种大家很喜欢的点心。可是它到底是怎么样产生的呢？在第2段第2句的地方，我们看到一个分词构句。这个分词构句一开始给我们一个过去分词，叫做 inspired by 什么东西。我们借由这个 by 就知道前面的 inspired 是一个过去分词，受到被江户时代的金川烧imagawa yaki 这个东西呢，这个金川烧啊，它是一种像红豆馅的糕饼啦，那是受到它的启发。那你说这个分词构句到底原来是如何呢？我们先把句子看完，看到的是啊，往后找，其实真正的主词就是逗点的 taiyaki。那这个 taiyaki 呢，它一开始 it was inspired by 有受到什么什么启发，而且原本的逗点之后应该要有连接词。可是既然都是在讲 taiyaki 嘛，所以干脆把主词也删掉啦，be动词也删掉。这个是所谓的分词构句。如果句子当中啊，在一开始就看到过去分词或者是动词 ing， 然后你再找找看逗点之后的主词，的确文意通顺的话呢，通常它就是一个省略的一个分词构句。好，那么既然我们谈到了鲷鱼烧，它是受到启发之后呢，在1909年第一次就是以一种街头小吃的这个形式啊来出现。我们来到第2题，看到第2题之后有一个 as a street snack， 这里的 as 就是一个身份啦。所以在第2题当中啊，既然我们第一次出现，第一次看到选 A 的 emerged， 在文意是比较通顺的。不过接着的第3句呢，常大家可能会搞混 to increase sales， 这个 to do something 逗点才来到句子的话，通常都是表示目的。好，为了要增加销售，就把它做成了鲷鱼的形状。而且这种鲷鱼烧的这个鲷鱼啊，其实长期以来就被视为好运的象征哦。所以其实这个鲷鱼烧呢，是把一种昂贵的鱼变成不含鱼的日常小吃。而且当时呢，这个日本的商贩啊，就为大众带来了喜庆的氛围。所以我们在第2段的最后一句第4句这个地方就来到我们的第3题。第3题这里呢，可能考的是一种动词的变化。那这个动词变化其实在句子当中有一个关键，就是 into 这个字。我们从原本句子里面的很喜庆啊，但是却很昂贵的鱼，成为了每天都可以吃的小吃。所以它就是有转变成为的意思。可是到底要选 A 还是要选 C， 像是分词构句一般，还是要选 D 的为了要转变呢？句子其实看完我们就可以分辨得出来，逗点之后的 Japanese vendors 日本的这些商贩呢，就带来了一个喜庆。所以其实就是借由这一种方法 by doing something， 借由转变它的形式，那么才把鲷鱼烧转变成为带来一种喜庆气氛氛围的方式。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Let's continue talking about taiyaki. And here in the third paragraph, it says, originally filled with red bean paste, taiyaki now comes in flavors like chocolate, matcha, and even cheese or sausage. Just like the cholonbing here in Taiwan, they come in a variety of flavors. There's a lady in the Gongguan night market that sells these things, the cholonbing, and they have many different flavors as well. But I guess if you go to Japan, you've got lots of choices. The original flavor, the most common flavor, is red bean paste. Okay, paste is kind of like a substance that's kind of sticky. It's not like liquid, but it's not really hard either. It's kind of in between, so we call it a paste, and it's a red bean paste. Again, more specifically, it's adzuki bean paste. And it now comes in different flavors. You could get it in chocolate. That could be like chocolate pudding or something like that, chocolate cream. Here in Taiwan, you can get taro and other flavors. In Japan, you can get matcha, which of course is made from green tea. And you can even have ones that taste like cheese, or they might actually have some meat in them, like sausage, although I don't think there are any that actually have fish meat in them.
Ah, interesting. Of these flavors, my favorite would be the sausage. Sausage is ground meat. And it usually is put into like a tube shape using some sort of skin from the animal, which is also natural. And they cook it or they smoke it outside. Sausages are really popular here in Taiwan as well. I love sausage. So, yeah, we usually eat sausages sometimes just as snack food, sometimes at breakfast. At least Americans eat them for breakfast, and they do it in the UK as well. A certain type of sausage is called a hot dog, which everybody knows what a rogo is. So, yeah, there's lots of choices for you, as we talked about earlier. There are various fillings, assorted flavors that you can pick from. Which one would you pick, Tom, out of these, like chocolate, matcha, cheese, or sausage, of those 4 flavors?
Well, of the original, I like the custard the most, but of alternate flavors or other varieties, I like the chocolate cream flavor. Of course, I'm not talking about taiyaki here.
I've had one of those, yeah.
They're pretty tasty. I've had those from that lady in the Gongguan night market.
Yep.
They're pretty tasty. I'm not advertising for her, but I am mentioning that I have had them before.
Is there only one lady at Gongguan who sells
There might be more, but I can only think of one. And, of course, those kinds of cakes are available in night markets all over the island. But I'm not quite sure where taiyaki are available, in which night markets they're available here in Taiwan. If you know, send me a postcard or send me an email and let me know. I'd like to try them.
Yeah.
The only time I've had them was, of course, with my wife and daughter when we traveled to Osaka last year. There was a place in Osaka, I think it was in the Namba area, where they were selling these. It was a famous store. It was on the corner of an alley or something, and there was a long line of people waiting to get them.
Cool. Well, so many of our listeners have been to Japan, so I'm sure there are people out there going, oh, we've had these. We know exactly what you're talking about. Now, sometimes when you have a product, people want to liven up sales or increase sales. So they do something different, as they did long ago when they turned this pancake-shaped snack into a fish-shaped snack. Well, there's a modern twist of difference. A twist is when you just do something that's a little unexpected to something. You could have a twist in a movie. It has a twist at the end. Oh, I didn't see that coming. That's so crazy. It was shocking. But a modern twist for this particular taiyaki is that it's been turned into ice cream. And you can eat it on an ice cream cone. This blend or mixture of tradition and creativity has helped taiyaki gain global popularity. I don't know anyone who doesn't like ice cream. There are different flavors. I'll admit that. There's some flavors I'm not a fan of, but everyone seems to love ice cream, and so this has helped this particular snack food gain global popularity. If you're popular, a lot of people like you. It could be a food. It could be some sort of trend in clothing. It could be a new way to wear your hair. Notice that a lot of guys got perms this last summer. That was very popular. So the top of their heads were very curly. Popularity is the noun form of this word popular, which is an adjective. So it's gained a lot of popularity. It's become more popular.
Indeed, all over the world. I did want to say that when you order ice cream in the United States, you order by scoops. I'd like 1 scoop of chocolate ice cream, for example. And often the clerk will say, cup or cone. They'll say it pretty fast, and you might not know what that means. Would you like that ice cream in a cup, or would you like it on a cone?
And then there's the waffle cone as well.
Yeah, you could have that as well. Those have become popular in recent years. So again, taiyaki has not been popular only in Japan, but it is now popular all over the world. Now here in the final paragraph it says, today taiyaki is more than a snack. It represents culture and even serves as a personality test. Okay, so yes, indeed, if you want to have a snack, that's great. You can have this, but it means more than just being a snack. It represents culture. Okay, if something represents something, it stands for something. So in this particular case, it's not actually a fish, but it does represent Japanese culture. When you eat these things or when you see them in the night market, you'll think, oh, those are from Japan. That represents Japan. It's something that stands for Japan.
That's right. Here it says, some believe your eating style, how you eat something, reflects your character. If it reflects something, it shows something or expresses something. You could say it reveals something, expresses something. So there are different ways to eat this particular snack. Some people can start by eating or biting the head first. If you do this, it suggests optimism. Optimism is a way of looking at life and thinking that life is pretty wonderful. You have this feeling that good things will happen. The opposite is to be filled with pessimism or to be a pessimist. An optimist is the name we give the person who feels that good things are always around the corner. A pessimist always looks at the bad, the worst way to view something. They always look at the downside of life instead of the upside. And if you're in the middle, you're a realist or you're filled with realism. I think this is really funny, but it depends on your personality. A personality is a person's way of thinking, feeling, talking, behaving, but a character is a little different. Someone's character is more about your moral values, what you consider to be right and true, your principles, and how you act. They're similar, but they're not quite the same. So how you eat the fish says a lot about you. What does it mean if you start from the tail there?
It means you're more cautious. You're more careful with life. You don't jump into things. You always examine things first before you commit to them. For me, I would not bite the head first, nor would I bite the tail first. Those are the parts of a fish I normally don't eat. I would start from the belly of the fish, or maybe the back, and then work toward the head or the tail. That's how I would do it, but I don't know what that means. If you start eating the belly of the fish, does that make you pessimistic?
I think you're a realist.
Yeah, that's probably somewhere between being optimistic and pessimistic. So yeah, that's where I would start, from the belly. But again, this reflects your character or it reflects your personality. If you bite the head, you're optimistic. If you bite the tail, you're more careful.
So the next time you get to try this delicious snack, taiyaki, observe or notice how you eat it. It might add fun to your snack time. To observe, again, just means to notice, to watch something, to see it. It's good to observe things. You learn a lot about life without actually having to go through it, just by watching what happens to other people. That's some good advice. Be observant. That's what we call people. That's the adjective we give to them. Oh, he's so observant.
My mouth is watering right now. I'd like to head to the nearest night market and see if they have them available, or I'm going to head to my travel agent and book some tickets to Japan just so I can eat taiyaki. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Here comes our Chinese teacher.
当然，接着我们就来看一下鲷鱼烧到底怎么吃啊，里面有什么内馅啊。我们大家最常看见就是红豆馅了，没有错。来，第3段的第一句，这边又有一个分词构句咯。 前面的副词可以先遮起来，我们发现有一个 filled with， 我们常说充满着叫做 be filled with， be full with， be full of， be filled with。 好，这里的 filled with 其实就少了 be 动词，对不对？句子又有点长，我们继续往下看，逗点 Taiyaki now comes in flavors， 所以它的确是分词构句，本来都是在讲鲷鱼烧。 Taiyaki was originally filled with red bean paste and the taiyaki now comes in flavors blah blah blah， 所以干脆把逗点之后的 and 给省略掉。好，那在这句话当中特别注意一下 come in 不是来到哦，它指的是东西有各种不同的口味啊、尺寸啊、形式，所以其实就是中文那个有的意思。好，接着我们赶快来看一下下面的第4题呢，要答案选一个转折 be the twist 的原因是因为接下来在第3段的第3句，我们看到这个 the blend of tradition and creativity， 创意跟过去传统的一个结合，言下之意是转变的有一种新的口味，所以第4题答案选 B。 好，那当然最后呢，我们已经知道啊，鲷鱼烧不再是一种小吃哦，甚至现在还有人说你吃鲷鱼烧的方式可以反映你的个性耶。我们在最后面第4段请看一下第2句的地方，既然 some believe 有些人认为可以反映你的 character， 所以第5题答案当然要选 C， serves as a personality test， 它可以作为一个性格测试，所以下次在吃鲷鱼烧的时候顺便可以算命一下哦。以上是我们今天内容，我是安娜，我们下次见。
That's all the time we have for today, guys. We hope you enjoyed our food unit and it got you hungry. We hope you'll join us for our next program. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.